This is an instructional video on populations and samples. Complete the notes as you view the video. Stop the video at any time to write notes or replay. Samples. A sample is a subset or subgroup of an entire group. It refers to a portion of the group with specific characteristics. Data collected from the sample is called a sample statistic. Example would be vowels are a subset of the alphabet, a small grouping of those. Populations. When collecting data, the population refers to the entire group. So population is the entire group. Data collected from the entire population is called a population statistic. So an example would be the alphabet is equivalent or equal to the population, while the constants are a sample within the population. The following statements are populations. Determine a possible sample that is a part of a population. So there's many options that these could possibly be. I'm just going to give you an example of each one as we go through. So the population is people living in a specific neighborhood. A sample from that population could be the elderly people within the neighborhood. Number two, a population is families with children. A sample could be families with only one child. Remember, the population is a large group. The sample is a subset or a subgroup within that. Seniors at East High School is the population. And a sample of that could be seniors who drive their cars to East High School. The next one, you have the following statements are samples. Determine a possible population that it could be a part of. Again, there's a variety of answers these could be. So for number 4, children who play football for the YMCA is the sample. The population could be people who participate in YMCA programs. Number 5, the sample is students who were on the B honor roll for the first 9 weeks. The population could be all students enrolled during the first 9 weeks. And last, number 6, the sample is households that have cable in the Riverside apartment complex. The population could be all the households in the Riverside apartment complex. Statistical questions. A statistical question is one that can be answered with data that varies. So A statistical question is one that can be answered with data that you can collect that varies. The answer to a statistical question must be different. So this is just an example for you to think about. You've got a statistical question and a non-statistical question. You ask the students in your class, what is your height? Again, this is statistical. When you ask a statistical question, you expect to get a variety of answers. The answers have variability. The question above is statistical because you expect to get different answers. The other example is a non-statistical question. You ask the students in your class, what is the height of the tallest student in the 7th grade? When you ask a non-statistical question, there is only one correct answer, and you expect the same answer from everyone. So that's the difference between those types of questions. Complete the graphic organizer by answering the questions below based on the statistical question. So what we've done is gone ahead and it's provided you a question. It said, how could you collect the data? I've already given you that information. So we're going to decide whether it is a population statistic or a sample statistic and state why. I'm just going to put population or sample. We know they're statistics when I write these out for you. So our first one is, what do 7th grade students want to do for Fall Festival? Collecting the data could be that we surveyed the 7th grade students in first lunch. That would be considered a sample statistic because not every student was asked. The next one, our statistical question is, what is the average grade on the semester exam in Miss Johnson's class? A way to collect the data would be to use the scores in Miss Johnson's grade book. This would be a population statistic because it is an average of all the grades or all the pieces of data. They're all going to be included. So it is an average, all of the data. Will be included. So again, if I'm taking the average, I would include all the grades and then divide by the number of grades we had. Our next one, a statistical question. We have, who do Americans want as their president? A way to collect the data would be to use polls to call and ask people who they will vote for. This is a sample statistic because there are way too many people to call every single person. So you're taking a sample. And finally, the question is, how many students in your school ride the bus home? A way to collect the data would be to ask the people in your 8th period class. This is considered a sample statistic because it is difficult to try to ask every single student. So the population statistic would be to ask the entire school. The sample is a small group, which is the 8th period class. So the why is it would be difficult. To ask every student in the school. Pause the video and practice. Use this to complete the practice worksheet titled Populations and Samples. If you have been placed in a group, you will need to try to answer the problems first and then share with your team. If you are uncertain of how to begin, then ask your group for directions and maybe just start one together and then try to finish them by yourself before discussing. When finished, review. Restart the video for the final answers. If you're working independently, answer the questions, then restart the video to check your responses. The following will be the populations and solutions answer keys. Be sure you have attempted the problems before moving forward to see the answers. Be sure to correct any missed answers. Your wording may be slightly different than mine, and that's fine, as long as it has approximately the same meaning. And definitely have tried this by yourself so that you understand how you messed up. So populations and samples, determine the population and sample in each of the problems below. Number 1, a survey of 2,541 American households discovered that 64% of the households owned one car. The population is the large group, which is the American households. The sample is the American households who own a car. So you can see how the population is the big group and the sample is the subgroup. Number 2, the height of every 5th member of the varsity football team was 5'11". The population is the varsity football team members, or you might just have the varsity football team. The sample is every 5th member on the team. Number 3, in a recent study found that 40% of New York City residents earned more than the median salary. The population is the New York City residents. That is the large group. The sample, which is a subgroup, would be the New York City residents that earned more than the median salary. Number 4, in a USA Today internet poll, 73% of the readers indicated that they are satisfied with their lives. So the population were the readers who took the USA Today poll off the internet. The sample is the readers that were satisfied with their lives. So in this section, we're reading each of the statements. We're going to put a P if the statement refers to a population statistic, or an S if it refers to a sample statistic. Remember, a population statistic is a large entity where the sample is like a small subgroup. So the first one's done. The median cost of electricity in the U.S. is $104 per month. That's in the U.S. That's a large population. Number 6 says 42% of the responders to a poll at North Junior High indicated that they wanted to increase the number of pep rallies. That would be a sample statistic because it's specific to the junior high school and the students who wanted to increase the pep rally. So it's very specific. Number 7, based on the 2010 Census Bureau, 69% of the children under 18 live with 2 parents. Think about, is that a large group that they're speaking to or a subgroup within a large group? So this one is a population statistic because it is a very large group that they're dealing with. Number 8, according to the survey updating the census, the percentage of high school dropouts ages 18 to 24 decreased from 11.3% in 2005 to 6.4% in 2015. Again, that is a significantly large group, so because it is the census, so that is a population statistic. Number 9, a poll of 439 residents showed that 58% were pleased with the mayor's job performance. That would be a sample statistics because they have picked a specific group or a specific number of residents, and they're also the residents that are pleased. Number 10, the student body was surveyed about the new elective offerings. 85% indicate that they are pleased with the new offerings. This one is considered a population statistic because it was the whole student body being surveyed.